Pleased to have here future Hall of Famer, could be first ballot Hall of Famer, could be years from now, however, when that takes place, depending on certainly how this conversation goes. Good to see you again, Terrell Owens.
Absolutely.
How are you, T.O.?
I'm good, man.
Good. What'd you think about what you saw with Tony Romo yesterday, T.O.?
It was unfortunate, and I knew when he got fallen on, I saw how his face grimaced. I knew it probably could have been the collarbone, wasn't for sure. But as he walked off, I think there was a shot where he you can read his lips, and he said
it's broken.
Right. Yeah. But I had a broken collarbone back in 2003 or 4. I have a titanium rod in mine.
Yeah.
But I think, time is kind of on his side because it's early in the year. As far as can he get back and, will it be worth the risk, considering, he's going to be in harm's way when he comes back. How can the line protect him? But, I was talking to the guy Drew back in the green room, and I was telling people that injury probably could have been avoided.
How so?
If you queued the play up, I don't know if you have it, but right before that play, he made a check. He obviously checked the play. And the receivers that were out wide, somebody was supposed to run a route. And I don't know if it was supposed to be a hot route or something. But if you saw it, he went to go throw the ball, but nobody was out there. So somebody ran the wrong route or didn't get the check. So that play definitely could have been avoided. So that's, goes to a lot of inexperience. I know they signed the guy. I don't know if it was Bryce Butler.
Right.
But somebody, you see that?
Yeah.
Somebody ran the wrong route, and he felt the pressure. And
and suddenly now he needs to eat the ball, and he's scrambling. So are you saying that the Dez Bryant injury potentially begat this injury?
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a snowball effect. I mean, obviously it's affected, the whole organization at this point. Obviously they needed somebody to come in to replace Dez. They brought some other guys in. I did, have my agent reach out to see if there was an opportunity there, but they obviously are going in a younger direction. But again, it's been a snowball effect. If you see, as you saw that clip there, that could have been avoided.
Terrell Owens joining me here on the program. So you had your agent call Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones?
I just told him to reach out because I knew that there was going to be, to have a loss like Dez Bryant, that's a big loss in itself. You think about the production that he's had since he's been there. That's a big loss as it is. And now you have the loss of your starting quarterback in Tony Romo. You talk about, two elephants, in the room.
Yeah.
And how about three? That's like 3 elephants in an elevator. You talk about, you add DeMarco Murray in the mix.
Did you see DeMarco on the sidelines screaming about wanting the ball? T.O.,
hey, well, it couldn't have been me. If I would have been doing that, there's no telling, it would have been a headline.
So let's get inside people's heads. What do you think's in Dez Bryant's head right now, T.O.? Because you didn't have the same injury, but you did have something of the lower leg, right, for the Super Bowl?
Well, actually, in my rookie year, after my rookie year, I had a stress fracture in my 5th metatarsal, which I think is the same.
Yep.
But it was after the season when I had mine, and so I had a screw inserted. But the thing is, for that type of injury, it's weight bearing, and on top of that, you got to wait for the bone to heal. So I know when they said, I guess the first diagnosis was like 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. I'm like, no, it's going to be definitely longer than that. Now you're looking at your 8 to 10 week range, and then now you talk about him getting himself back in shape. He has to be comfortable to where he can plant, because it's not like he's a lineman or anything, not really doing a lot of movement, but he's at a position where he has to make a lot of cuts, and he uses his feet, to do what he needs to do.
Well, you obviously know what it means to be a receiver outside the numbers many ways, to be a receiver that's depended on, and certainly one with a burning fire inside that sometimes spills out. What do you think would be the pitfalls for Dez Bryant in trying to make a comeback this year, T.O.?
Probably trying to rush it, try to rush and get back. That's, again, it's one of those injuries where it's weight bearing. It'll be a different thing if it was maybe the arm or something like that. But to do and play like he plays, it's going to require a lot of time. And so I don't know what he's doing as far as his rehab is concerned. Hoping, I know the training staff is doing what they can.
Yeah.
But again, he needs to do whatever he can the right way to heal as fast as possible. I know for myself, I'll be sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber, you know, on a daily basis.
What is that like?
It's not bad. It's if you're not claustrophobic, you know, it's good. I mean, again, it accelerates the healing process.
Sure.
And so for me, you know, I ate healthy, you know, during the course of my career, and I think that's what allowed me to come back from a lot of injuries. Eating bad foods, processed foods, it really, you know, it hinders the healing process of injuries.
I'm here with Terrell Owens, at Terrell Owens on Twitter, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So what's going through DeMarco Murray's head right now? Because, I mean...
Oh, my gosh, I can only imagine. He's like, I can only imagine what he's thinking. But, I mean, right now, I mean...
What would you do if you were DeMarco Murray right now? What would you do after that performance or that scheme, if you will, against his former team and that day against a team that
Well, I think it's, I mean, obviously, it starts up front. You know, those guys up front, they should take a lot of pride in what they're doing in their job, because you can't have a guy that was leading rusher last year come in and he doesn't even have 12 yards this year. It's pathetic. I think, you know, for somebody that's on the offensive line, they should have a lot of pride in themselves. Even the offensive line coach, they should be embarrassed at the performance of their guys up front, because that's where it starts. I mean, DeMarco can only do what those guys up front allow him to do. If they're not, you know, moving guys up front, then, you know, they could have Herschel Walker, they could have Bo Jackson back there, they could have, you know, Barry Sanders back there. It's not going to happen. And I know, you know, DeMarco is pretty frustrated, and I'm sure it was very evident, you know, as he walked through the sideline. You know, he had a lot of outbursts, but again, I'm sure he's probably rethinking, you know, some of his off-season move. I'm like, man, what did I do?
Should he go into Chip Kelly's office and say something today?
Well, he should have went in there last night. I mean, again, it starts up front. You know, no matter what DeMarco Murray goes in there and says to Chip Kelly, you know, that's Chip Kelly's team. He shipped a lot of guys out of there, you know, to get what they're seeing on the field on Sunday. So it really kind of starts with management, you know, and works its way down. But the product that you're seeing on the football field for the Philadelphia Eagles, that lies heavily on Chip Kelly's shoulders, because I know he made a lot of offseason moves within the last 2 to 3 years, even from, you know, some of the interior linemen. You think about, you know, some of the guys like Deshaun Jackson, Shady McCoy.
Macklin.
I mean, a lot of guys that, you know, that could have helped them, you know, from an offensive weapon standpoint. And even the receivers that are out there, I mean, it looks elementary.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, it just doesn't look like quality football. That team doesn't look like a professional football team. I guarantee you there may be some top high school teams that could probably come in and compete against them.
You really think that about the Eagles?
I had just gotten off a flight and caught the last part of the game. Not the last part, I guess around the second quarter.
Sure.
I think that's when Tony got hurt or something like that. That was terrible. That was subpar football that I saw.
So let's talk about you now. So again, your agent calls the Dallas Cowboys, and they said what? No, thank you?
I'm not sure what the situation is. I think there are, you know, my name may have come up in discussion as far as bringing me in. But again, a lot of people are going to factor in my age as far as why I can't play. We all know what happened when I was there, and there were some things said where it kind of may have fractured, you know, the relationship between myself and Witten and Romo. And again, you know, time has passed, and hopefully, you know, they know that I've moved on beyond that, and maybe, hopefully, they have. But for me, you know, it's all about giving, you know, myself an opportunity. That's all I ever really wanted.
Sure.
Again, a lot of people talk about the Hall of Fame. I don't really think about it. I'm very honored to be in such a class with a number of people as far as the nominations are concerned. But for me, it's, you know, as I said, I don't really think about it, because I know I still probably should be playing, you know. So for me, it's just if an opportunity arises, then I'll entertain it. And why wouldn't I want to go back to somewhere where I know I felt at home? I know the owner. You know, I was there with some of the guys that are still there. And, yeah, I mean, I love my time in Dallas.
So the idea that if for 8 games, 10 games, whatever, that you would push back for 5 more years, induction in the Hall of Fame. That is something you don't give any thought to about?
It doesn't really bother me. And you know, for like I said, I'm very honored,
Sure.
you know, to be a nominee. But I never really played the game to achieve such an accolade. When I came out of high school and I went to UT Chattanooga, I had no idea that, you know, I was going to become who I became. You know, I was a thin, scrawny, lanky kid that really just kind of just progressed. I was a late bloomer, and things just kind of just started happening for me. I've always been competitive. I wanted to play basketball. I played 3 years basketball. My years in college at UT Chattanooga, the best times of my times in college was when I played basketball. Mm-hmm. Again, I never really looked beyond the collegiate level as far as playing professionally, playing football.
Well, one of the things I love about having you on is because you're so honest and you answer any question asked of you. So that's my way of giving you the caveat to this question.
Well, I appreciate
For
it.
people who are out there listening to the show, driving around or watching it, wherever they are right now, and thinking, you know what, why should the Dallas Cowboys, in the middle of all of this, give a chance to, how old exactly are you?
I'm 41.
41-year-old, who might blow up the locker room for coming back. Why should Jerry Jones, go ahead and do something like that? How do you respond?
Well, for me, I'm not that same guy that I was years ago. And I know, you know, throughout my career that there are some things that may have, I shouldn't have said. And I think that comes with the maturation process. And for me, you know, I respect Jerry, I respect their organization. And me now knowing if there was an opportunity for me to go back, I wouldn't want to ruffle those feathers. You know, I think, you know, for me, I've become wiser, you know, as you get older. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's never really been my, you know, intentionally my MO to go in there and disrupt any locker room. Sometimes my competitive edge, you know, gets the best of me. And, you know, for me, I would have to really kind of curtail that a little bit. But, you know, as far as me being on the football field, I think everybody knows, you know, what they'll get. And I think, you know, right now, Brandon, I mean, he has a job, you know, he has a tall order because, you know, they're in a locker room now. That whole team, that whole city, they're 2-0, but they don't really feel 2-0 going against this Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons, who are locked and loaded with all their weapons.
They are that.
So, you know, it's going to be an interesting next few games to kind of see what kind of identity that they can come up with to really kind of, you know, keep things going for them.
Terrell Owens is right here in the studio. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, have one more quick segment with you before we send you on. Thanks for coming on the program, too.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Anytime.
More with Terrell Owens, at Terrell Owens on Twitter, right here on The Rich Eisen Show.
My second time
There we
seeing
go.
it.
Welcome back. Say it again.
That was my second time seeing that clip, but I knew what happened.
I mean, with Bryce Butler, the guy at the top of the screen who didn't run the right route.
Because I saw, you know, I'm a very visual person, so I saw Tony make the check, so I knew it was going to be, and it was an audible, so I knew somebody was supposed to be doing something. So when he got it and he got ready to throw it and nobody was there, he felt the pressure, and then that's why, you know, he ended up getting sacked.
Yeah.
That, like I said, that could have been totally avoided.
If you were there.
Absolutely.
Running the route.
You said it, I didn't.
Well, I did say it. I said it yesterday on game day morning. Did you see
it? I heard about it.
With number 88 sitting at the end of the set, Irvin.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. And they were like, you know, nodding their heads. I mean, look, it's the age thing too. You know that. I'm not telling you any tales out of school.
No, yeah. I know.
Being 41.
Yeah.
How many? You wouldn't have to go through any conditioning drill, clearly.
I mean, I'll be a little winded. I mean, I had to get myself in a little shape.
So
I wouldn't be in game shape.
You get a call today. You play Sunday? You can play Sunday?
I can give him a few snaps.
How many's that?
Man. I mean,
Let's talk about it. Let's get it out there.
Herschel
right now.
Walker said he had 10 in him, right?
Yeah, at age 53.
10?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
By the way, he was the last guy to sit in this chair. Was Herschel Walker?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He said 53, give 10. He could at least return kicks. He said, at least.
Okay.
Very least. So what do you give me? 20, 30 snaps you get?
I guess I'm thinking, okay, let me see. When I played, I averaged something like about 70, 75 snaps sometimes. Mm-hmm. I give you about at least good 30.
Good 30 for Sunday.
Yeah.
Against the Atlanta Falcons.
Good 30. The 50 and beyond.
You'll get there.
Yeah.
That's what people are talking about.
Yeah,
You know.
I mean, red zone.
Did you have your agent calling any other teams at all?
You know, he knows I'm
knows.
you know, staying, you know, somewhat ready, you know,
Okay.
just in case.
Would you ever play in Canada?
No, I haven't really thought about it.
No.
Nah.
Yeah. Bright lights, right?
He's
Yeah.
domestic. He's domestic. He's domestic United States right here. This is the National Football
I
League.
mean,
It's the NFL.
if the price is right, yeah, you know. I had to bundle up. I'll bundle up.
Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. At Terrell Owens, spending a couple more minutes with me here on the program.
I always spend extra couple of
I
minutes.
appreciate it. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate you spend as much time as you want here. We're seeing some young guns in the NFL right now at the position. It's not just like, okay, Calvin, et cetera, et cetera. We're seeing Odell, right? And we're seeing
Odell Beckham, yeah, okay.
Julio Jones.
Yeah,
Who's
yeah.
the best receiver in the NFL right now, do you
Ooh,
think?
that's a good question. I mean, you think about what Antonio Brown is doing
Oh,
over there
my
in
gosh, yes.
Pittsburgh.
He almost had 200 yards receiving against the
Yeah,
Niners
well,
yesterday.
Steve Smith didn't do bad either with the Ravens.
old G.
He had like 10 for 150.
Larry Fitzgerald had his first 3-touchdown game of his regular season career yesterday in Chicago.
Oh yeah, these are guys, you know, letting everybody know that, you know, we're not old yet, you know.
That's right. Okay.
Don't count us out. But yeah, those guys that you mentioned.
But one play, the wide receiver that you think would do, you got to get that first down, got to get that score, something. Who's the one receiver that you'd want?
I got to go with Calvin Johnson because he's a big body. You throw it in anywhere in his vicinity, I mean, he's going to make that catch. I mean, you know, Odell, I mean, he has the fame now and to start him, you know, with that one spectacular catch. But, I mean, he is doing what he's doing to piggyback that, and that's being productive for his team. Now they need to just start winning some ball games. So they just gave Eli that extension. So, you know, he's going to have to make do with that money that they just paid him.
So Jerry Jones said he was more down, more depressed than a crippled cricket's ass. He said that yesterday after the Tony Romo injury. So you're the antidote, right?
He might want to add a snake to that too, because it's low.
But you have that antidote. I've got 30 seconds left. You are the antidote, correct?
Well, you know, I definitely could be. So, you know, again,
I'm just saying.
I'm viable. I'm ready. You know, give me a week or so, get myself in some game shape. I could be of some help. You know,
Tio, thank you for coming in. You are welcome here anytime, sir.
Appreciate it. You know,
bet.
I need a job, Rich. I need a job. This is a show within a show.
I like it. A
Yeah,
show
babe.
within a show.
That's right.